Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. The real question is, when it comes to Anthony Joshua and Derrick James and the relationship being formed between the trainer and trainee, the ex-pro boxer turned trainer and the ex-unified champion, I'm going to tell you right now, although I want to be optimistic about the future of Derrick James and Anthony Joshua, I'm not very optimistic, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Eddie Hearn is going to ruin that relationship. And the thing about it is, if Anthony Joshua has to pick somebody, he's going to roll with Eddie Hearn. Now, for those of you who are saying, okay, well, how did you arrive at that idea, that prediction? Where's your crystal ball? Maybe you need to hold your horses and not take it to the stupid. But I'm going to tell you right now, you see when Eddie Hearn was out there in Dallas, right? He was there to check on Anthony Joshua, see how the training's going. But Eddie Hearn, he can't control himself. He doesn't understand the definition of being reticent. All he knows is talking. He's a jabberjaw. When he got a microphone put in front of his face, asking about AJ and how training was going, and to kind of, give a little perspective on what he saw and what he felt about the facility down there in Dallas and just the overall environment. And Eddie Hearn talked about the facility, which is not a problem. He talked about what Anthony Joshua was used to back in the UK, what he had to grow accustomed to being in the States, the pros and cons. Not an issue. Talked about being famous in the UK, being a kind of unfamiliar face out there in Dallas where he can go about day-to-day business and not be bothered. No problem. He talked about AJ's training out there, right? And the type of training he was doing, and seems to be really focused, and everything is just living and breathing boxing. No problem. But this is the problem with Eddie Hearn. That microphone was in his face, and instead of him remaining sticking to the order of business, right? He started talking about how when he was there, he saw Errol Spence spar a hard 12 rounds. And he said he was in awe sitting back watching Errol Spence work like that. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, when he said that, I immediately did a video. And I said, this man just told us that Errol Spence and Crawford are going to fight. And some people were like, you know what? You may be right. I said, yeah. Why else would Errol Spence be sparring 12 hard rounds just to stay in shape? Let me tell you something. I've never fought professionally, but like a lot of you, I've done a lot of sparring. And let me tell you something. You just don't go spar a hard 12 rounds just to stay in shape. So when he said that, that told me immediately, I said, that's an indicator that Spence is training and getting in shape for something, and it can only be one person. It's Terrence Crawford. And when you sat there and you stitched together the clues, right? Errol Spence is all of a sudden training hard for something, right? Eddie Hearn told us that. No one knew. Remember, there were no cameras in the training camps. There's nothing being posted on social media. There's no one at all talking. Derrick James isn't talking. Errol Spence isn't talking. You see over there with the WBO and Terrence Crawford, the whole negotiation thing between Crawford and Rocha and going to purse bid and De La Hoya and all that crap got quiet, right? Radio silence. But who came in and started running their mouth and spilling the beans? Whether it was advertently or inadvertently, doesn't matter. Who spilled the beans? And since we're talking about coming out of Texas, it was probably a bunch of baked beans. So it was damn Eddie Hearn. So the reason I'm bringing that to your attention is because over the next few months, year or so, right? I'm not even gonna say a couple years. I'd say the next few months to a year. I'm willing to bet right now that Eddie Hearn is gonna be down there in that training camp. And when he goes down there, well, I'm gonna say the gym, right? He go down there to check on AJ. And while he's there, he's going to see and hear things about Frank Martin, about Jermell Charlo, about Errol Spence. And I'm telling you right now, just like he came back and couldn't wait to talk about how he saw Errol Spence spar 12 hard rounds, something that I'm sure they didn't want to get up. Eddie Hearn came and told us about it. I am sure he's going to start telling us the things he's seeing and he knows about Frank Martin, Jermell Charlo, and also Errol Spence. He may even talk some things about what he knows or sees about Derek James. He may even talk about some of their personal business. Oh, and Derek James has a really nice daughter, a really nice son. If you see, they bring the kids there. Really nice fella. Matter of fact, I think his son plays soccer, and my son plays a little football. You know, they call it soccer in America. We call it football out here in the UK. That's how Eddie Hearn talks. Now, will he innocently disclose some things that maybe they don't want disclosed? There's a chance. There's a chance. But I'm telling you, that's going to create an issue. Right? That's going to create an issue. I can only imagine Eddie Hearn being there. And what a privilege it is for him to even be allowed to come into the camp with an undisputed champion, unified champion, and a guy like Frank Martin who's on his way to getting a crack at a title shot. And for Eddie Hearn to get a peek behind the tent flaps on the business at hand. And I can just see him saying something to someone, because when he starts talking, he doesn't have a kill switch. There needs to be someone out there who can get to that kill switch before Eddie Hearn starts to talk about the wrong things. And that's what I predict is going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I can't be the only one who picked up on that when he said, and I saw Errol Spence. It was amazing to be there, and he saw him spar a hard 12 round. I can't be the only one. And when he said that, I immediately keyed in on that. I said, whoa. What's he talking about here? So you can't tell me there are other people who didn't key in on that. And when I say other people, I'm talking about Errol Spence, Derek James, like damn Eddie Hearn out here kind of spilling the beans and talking about things that I'm doing in my training camp when his sole focus is AJ. And I agree. Why is Eddie Hearn talking about Errol Spence? You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be talking about him at all. And if I was Derek James, I would have that conversation with him. You know, and it's a confrontation. Remember, confrontation doesn't have to be destructive. Confrontation can be very constructive. And I would have a very constructive confrontation with him and say, look, don't talk about anything you see in this gym. And I get it. Your whole business is being a mouthpiece. You're proud of being a mouthpiece. You actually refer to yourself as a mouthpiece. But when it comes to the business that's taking place here and the things you see, getting that peek behind our tent flaps, you see it and just leave it there. We don't need that to go outside of this camp. And that's a conversation I think is going to happen. And Eddie Hearn's a prideful guy. And I know that's going to burn him a little bit, but he has to accept it, right? This isn't, you're not dealing with people who necessarily need you. Derek James was cool with just having Errol Spence. Took on Jermell. And Derek James doesn't care about having a gym full of fighters. His focus is on giving his best to Jermell and Errol Spence. And now AJ, but then the kids in the community, you know, the amateurs and the young guys and just those guys who don't desire to be part of an amateur program but come in there to train. That's his focus, man. That's his passion. And he's not going to allow Eddie Hearn to mess that up. So I'm just telling you right now. Right now, paradise. It's what it seems, right? Next 6 months, trouble in paradise. Okay? A year from now, tsunami hits paradise and washes all this away. And hey, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. You know that's not my style. I like to joke, got a good sense of humor, like to talk serious about things too. But what I'm giving you right now is, hey, from the hood champion heart. And I'm talking about because I just think you're going to suck for Anthony Joshua. If he's kind of gets caught up in the Eddie Hearn web, where Eddie Hearn is just out here kind of putting Joshua in a precarious position because now Eddie Hearn feels uncomfortable coming into the camp because there's a little bit of animosity that's brewed as a result of Eddie Hearn's big mouth. You know what I'm saying? But that being said, we'll go ahead and leave it alone, this conversation for now. But I'm sure we'll be picking back up. And the next couple months, could be a couple weeks, who knows? And there'll be something else where Eddie Hearn is talking about business he has no business, talking about business that he has no business talking about. And that's the same thing Leonard Ellaby will get pissed off about, Bob Arum, Lou DiBella. You know, a lot of promoters got mad at him. Look, Eddie Hearn's great at what he does. You can't take anything away from Eddie Hearn. And he's a great talker. And he does a fantastic job. He's the kind of guy you want on your team. Because if Eddie Hearn is down with you, he's down with you. He's riding. We all going down on this ship together, Conor Ben. We all going down in flames. Eddie Hearn don't care. We all going down. He ain't gonna jump ship. No. Hey, we gonna ride this out together. But what I'm telling you is, having the same guy like Eddie Hearn on your team, at times, can be bad medicine. So we'll see what happens in the next few months. But I'm gonna go ahead and call it right now. Eddie Hearn's gonna make somebody mad, and we're gonna hear about it. But it's gonna be bad for AJ because where does he go from here? You know what I'm saying? This man just bouncing around. How many times you gonna relocate and try to hook up with a trainer? How many times are you gonna relocate or have a trainer relocate to try to help you, or for you to help yourself? So we're kind of hoping that this is the one. Anthony Joshua may be setting a damn world record. You know what I mean? The most trainers within a certain period of damn time. You know what I'm saying? I got to get with Guinness, the Guinness Book of World Records, and see if we can get Anthony Joshua inserted in a page in there. You know what I'm saying? The most trainers by a professional boxer within a period of time. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We'll be positive about it, but I'm just telling you, I see it's coming. But that being said, y'all keep cool. The question is, how long will Derrick James and AJ work together? It's a matter of time, if you ask Hood Champion, before Eddie Hearn ruins that relationship by running that mouth. That being said, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. I'm in the breeze.